Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about boots and shoes with character. So in today's video we're talking about boots and shoes that really does add character to your ensemble and your overall look, and maybe reflects a little bit of your personality. And this is an example here. So I picked this pair of boots up off eBay recently, and the reason why I picked them was they're a little bit different than the standard chucker boot. They have a little bit of character to them, a little bit of flair. It makes a little bit of difference when you're wearing them, whether that's with jeans, chinos or dress trousers. It still adds that pop of interest, if you like. So today, that's the subject. We're talking about shoes and boots in my collection that add a little bit of character, have a little bit of character, and add something to your overall look. And it can change people's perception of an overall, what could be considered traditional look, to make it a little bit more trendy, but not too much that's fashion related. And so let's start with boots first of all. Now we're all typically aware of the desert boot, and I think the desert boot is a great casual boot, goes particularly well with jeans, chinos or anything like that, and even in the autumn period with a thicker pair of socks underneath, they still go really well even in the autumn period with a pair of corduroy trousers or something along those lines. Another boot that I particularly like, even though it's got very clean lines, is the actual Chelsea boot. I think the Chelsea boot goes really well for that very slick ended look. I'm not a keen user of a Chelsea boot with a suit, but I still think it has its place there, depending on your personal taste. But the Chelsea boot is a really good boot to use for that blank canvas, if you like. So when it comes to Chelsea boots, one particular brand that I like the look of, and that is Geoffrey West. And the way that he uses the leather, and the leather is designed to cut away, the actual broguing using playing cards as an example, it is in its own right a work of art. They are very much a statement boot, and not necessarily for somebody wearing them in a formal capacity, more of a casual, informal suit wear sort of thing. But nonetheless, a really good pair of boots, and well constructed as well. So we're just going to pop back to the chucker boot design, and with this particular boot that I purchased recently, you can see it's actually got a toe cap, which is not traditionally a chucker boot design, but you've also got some broguing on that as well, on the rear quarter and along the top of the toe cap, and a little bit of edging on the vamp and upper area. So I think it's a really good look in all, and I think it goes particularly well, like I said, with jeans or with the corduroy trousers or something along those lines. And depending on the colour you use, for example, this pair here is a pair of Oliver Sweeney chucker boots that I wear. This has a very similar vibe, but the cut of the actual shoe, the toe and the spade effect that you get from this design really does make it stand out as a little bit unique. And the thing about these shoes is on the back heel part of the shoe, it has embroidered into the actual shoe O on one shoe and S on the other, Oliver Sweeney. So it's a little bit unusual, and it adds a little bit of character potentially to the overall look of the shoe. But these go particularly well with the pair of jeans again, but very well with a pair of dress trousers or a pair of corduroy trousers. They just go with just about anything going, and they even go well with a suit if needed in a semi-formal look. The last pair of boots I'm going to talk about is very straightforward. It is very much a working boot, and Again, it has a little bit of detail on it, and it has a little bit of broguing on it, and it makes it a little bit different. In this case, they are a light tan boot, and maybe they would go better with a dark brown or a chestnut colour, or maybe even a burgundy colour would go really well for this boot. It's great for country walks, informal walks in the woods, family weekends, that sort of thing. Perfect for that setting. Equally, just as good on the farm, working in the fields. It is that adaptable. But again, this one has a Vibram sole on it, and very much a working boot in design. Goes great with that country look, so tweed jackets, corduroy trousers, thick knitted jumpers, that sort of look. It goes really well with that look. And that brings us on to shoes. Now, shoes are one of those things where, yes, I like a traditional shoe, and in this case I'm demonstrating a straightforward derby closure on a Loke brogue shoe that has what they call a bullet toe, which is a good look, I think, for that casual, informal look. Semi-formal maybe. Tweed jacket goes particularly well with this overall look. And it is a little bit characterful, even though it's a very traditional look. So the shoe itself can draw attention, and one of the first things I would say about shoes is that when you meet somebody, they tend to scan you from top to bottom. And one of the things they look at is your shoes. And even if it's just momentary and as a glance, but if you've polished your shoes, they really stand out, and that draws attention. But also the style of shoe, the way you've integrated that into your ensemble, all makes a subliminal message to the person scanning you. And I think one of the great ways of demonstrating a little bit of character, a little bit of personality, is in your shoe choice. And when it comes to brogue shoes, one of my really favourite ones is this brogue shoe here. And the reason why I like it is because it's very much a statement piece, and in that it's a very countrified brogue, a very light tan. It is very durable, chunky, goes really well with jeans, casual sort of look, or even dressed up with a pair of corduroy trousers or moleskin trousers. Even with a pair of tweed trousers, these really do stand out. But the interesting thing here is the leather laces on them. It really does bring down the level of formality on this shoe. But it's the overall aesthetic. It is a really nice shoe and very characterful. People notice this shoe when you're wearing it and walking about. But one of the interesting things is the use of laces and the colour of laces. And so if you really want to change a little bit about your personality or the image that you're portraying when you're wearing shoes, then you can lighten the look by wearing some coloured laces, contrasting laces, and it really does add a fun element to your overall ensemble and look. And so in this case, I'm looking at a pair of shoes here that actually are two-toned. So you have a burgundy toe cap, heel and quarter, yet on the vamp and that side of the shoe we have actually an oxblood, which is a slight contrast to the overall look of the burgundy. So it does really draw the eye, and it does look really quite good in the casual setting or even in the semi-formal section. I wouldn't suggest that this is necessarily something for high-end suit wear, very formal or business attire, but certainly in that mid-ground it's a great shoe to use and very adaptable. And in this case, it's, like I said, it's burgundy and oxblood, but you can get them in other colours as well. I would suggest that with this shoe you don't wear it all the time, because it becomes very much a same shoe and people register you're wearing the same shoe. But every now and again, for a special event or something different, they're great. And that brings me on to Oliver Sweeney again, and this shoe here is more of a burgundy brown shoe. It's got that spade cut similar to the boot, but it really is characterful when it's worn with a suit or even casually with a pair of chinos or even jeans. That overall look is still a great look, I feel, with that unusual cut to the actual shoe. So another pair of shoes that I really like is the loafer, the suede loafer or leather loafer. Not a particular one that I wear very often or frequently, but it still is a classic. Whether it's tasseled or penny loafered, they are a really nice looking shoe in the right circumstances, and they are very characterful in their own right. The final thing I'm going to talk about is really about the sort of shoe that is a little bit more different, and that is a suede shoe. And in this case I'm going to choose a chocolate brown suede shoe. I think out of all the shoes, when it comes to summer and into autumn, this shoe really is quite adaptable, and it does draw attention because it is suede. Suede is not as difficult to look after as people think or imagine. They do need a regular brush, and they do need regular treatment to keep them waterproof and keep them in good condition. But other than that, they're no different to any other pair of shoes. I would suggest though, maybe don't use them when it's really heavy rain, because they do take on water and hold water for quite a long while, and that can affect the actual shoe itself and break down the leather, the suede leather, a little bit more and make them a little bit more misshapen over time if you're not careful. But in the right conditions, they are really popular and very, very much characterful when worn. So there we go, just a short little journey through my shoe collection, and we're looking at boots and shoes that add character, that are a little bit different from the normal regimented traditional shoe look. Don't get me wrong, I do love my traditional shoes and boots, but these are a little bit more to add a little bit of character and something for you to consider in the future in your own ensembles, whether you like or dislike that look, but at least you've entertained that idea. So just a few ideas there for you to consider about when you're going to wear a pair of boots or shoes, or if you want to change your image overall and become a little bit more casual in your look, or you want something a little bit different, add a little bit of personality in your footwear, then this might be a help to you. Just want to take the opportunity to talk about our Patreon page, and it's a great way to catch up with like-minded people. We have a WhatsApp group, and in addition to that, you are able to gain access, free access to monthly videos, and they are unique to the Patreon page. But we also do videos for weekly exclusive content, and in addition to that, the next level up, you can also gain access to additional video footage about what's happening that week, what we intend to do with the channel, and how we're progressing the channel. The top level, the next tier up, is going to be where you have access to monthly Q&A videos, and it's a drop-in call, and you can discuss any issues you have, which we can discuss as a group or even as an individual. And that brings me on to the final level, which entitles somebody to, in addition to all this, to have one-to-one conversations with me via Zoom call. And that can be to discuss a particular issue that you want to get some clarification on, or you want some guidance on, or it could simply be just have a chat with me and a catch up. So I'll leave the link down below for you to consider that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, then please feel free to do so. We also love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, jot them down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you've got a question you'd like to pose to us or you'd like an answer to, then why not jot it down? We'll try and answer your question for you. We also like ideas for future videos, so if you want to make a contribution and make a suggestion about future content, then please again jot it in the notes below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. The next video could be something that you've recommended or suggested. So until next time, take care.